Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are here. We are here. Now, I know I told y'all in the video the other day that it was episode 6. I lied. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's actually episode 5. So this is Let's Talk Boxing. Episode 5, man. We gonna get it popping. I see my man B Wells just chimed in. Hey, tap in so you can join the live, man, because I'm gonna talk about this Masvidal versus Covington fight real quick, and then we gonna switch over and talk about boxing. But I at least wanna touch on this one because this one's gonna be a good one. So, hey, tap in. That's my boy right there. That's my brother right there. People, y'all. If y'all follow the channel enough, you already know about the homie B Wells. So I don't even have to go into much detail. Y'all know this face. If y'all following the channel, you know this face. Welcome, my man.
What's
Good
up?
to
Can you
see
see
you.
me? I'm looking foggy, huh?
Yeah. You in the bathroom? You just got done taking a shower or something?
Nah. Hold up. I'm not at my office, so
I got you.
yeah, no, it looks terrible. But yeah, man.
All right, so we gonna jump into to boxing in a little bit. Y'all gotta forgive me because we gotta touch UFC just for a little bit before we jump into boxing. Obviously, you got a big fight on tonight. You got UFC 272 main event. Colby Chaos Covington and Jorge Masvidal, man. Yes, Aaron, I got the Duke game actually on my TV right now. I see a comment. Yep, I got it on my TV. But tonight, Masvidal and Covington, they were former training partners, former friends. You've seen the videos, you've seen the pictures, and now they're gonna be fighting, man. It's gonna be a good one. My man B Wells, what you think about this? What you think about this fight?
I, I think Covington's a better fighter than Masvidal at this point. I think Kobe Covington. I mean, you don't have to like his personality. I just think that his fighting style will give Masvidal a lot of problems. But I'm sure they know each other well because they trained together, right, for a long
Yeah,
time.
yep. They were
They
uh
were
they were
they were partners, yeah,
yeah,
right.
they were like best friends, bro. Like according to like if you listen to some of the athletes that do interviews and stuff, they talking about the relationship that Masvidal and Covington had, man. Apparently they were super close. I thought I said UNC game. If I did, my fault. The UNC game, I'm watching it. Yes, sir. Um, but yeah, man, they were super close. They were like best friends. And so apparently what happened, like if you watch the interviews with Masvidal, it all started that Masvidal has somebody that's super close to him. It's a striking coach. And apparently, since him and Kobe were close at the time, Masvidal said, you know what, won't you train with my striking coach, help work on your striking since your wrestling is already on point. So he works with a striking coach, and long story short, he doesn't end up paying him.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe, he beats Rafael dos Anjos to win an interim title. And the coach said, hey, look, since you didn't pay me for the other times, when you win the belt, just pay me for those fights, and then this one, then we'll call it even. So the story is that Covington didn't pay anything. Right. So, and Masvidal said he had to pay the whole, I think it was $12,500 is the amount that they were throwing around. So he had to pay the whole thing out of his pocket personally.
And
So he,
this was like back in the day,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. This was like when Covington fought Dos Anjos. Remember when he fought Dos Anjos?
What year was that? I was probably what, 18?
Probably like 18, yeah. And then remember he snapped in Brazil. He was like, Brazil, you're a dump. All you filthy animals suck.
Oh
When he did
yeah.
that whole moment, that whole personality switch. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, man. So now they hate each other, man. So me personally, I think it can go either way, man. I think Covington's cardio could play a role, like his pressure and relentless, attack. But Masvidal is the better boxer. Masvidal is the better boxer, and the fights start standing up. And Covington does get hit with the right hand a lot. If you look at the Usman fight, and Teddy Atlas said something about this too. Like if you look at the Usman fight, he got caught with the right hand over and what's up, Edgar? He got caught over and over and over again. Masvidal hits harder. So
No,
if you,
yeah, all that is fine and good, but at the end of the day, who you could be better than somebody and beat people that have beat your opponent,
Mhm.
But those two guys know each other. Who
Yep.
has the upper hand? Who's scared of who? Who got their ass whooped in training? Somebody has the edge, and it's probably not who you think it is.
Yeah.
Masvidal might just be that dude over him. Masvidal might have that type of relationship with him that he beat him up in the gym.
That's
So when
true.
they get out there in front of the lights, he might have his number just off top. Who knows? But I think just from like looking at their opponents, I feel that like Kobe Covington is the better fighter. I mean, I don't necessarily like his antics, but I get why he's doing it. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if we just if we take away the whole personality thing, because I get why he does what he does, man. I mean, because there was a report that came out that he was supposed to be right. He was supposed to be cut by the UFC. They told him before a fight that, or they told his people, his trainer at the time, that it doesn't matter what Kobe does in this fight, like we're gonna cut him either way. So like he had to do something to be appealing, to be a draw, to put butts in seats. So like he just switched everything around, man, and he turned it to a whole nother person. But if you take that away, and just look at the abilities, man, he's got all the ability, in the world. His striking's gotten a lot better. His ground game is already outstanding. So I would say better overall, yeah, because he has more. He has the striking and he's got the ground game. Masvidal is good. He's good on the ground, but he's not as good as Covington.
He got knocked out by Usman, didn't he?
Masvidal got knocked out
Masvidal got knocked out. Yeah.
and Covington got
Yeah.
beat up. He got beat up 2 fights by Usman.
Then his jaw got broke the first one, and he fought through that. Look, Kobe Covington is a tough dude.
He's
man.
tough, dude. He's a tough
He's
dude,
a tough
man.
dude, man.
Yes.
He really is.
He that second fight though too, even though he got dropped, I want to say in like the 3rd round or something like that, he continued to bring it to Usman, and rocked him once or twice. So yeah, this ain't gonna be no cakewalk for either guy, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Oh, we got Property Pro 1. That's Doretha.
What's happening? What's
Hey.
going on? Wait.
So, but yeah, no, I think that's going to be a really, really good fight. I'm interested to see what happens with that, and I think the people gonna get what they pay for.
I know it's something about that best friends turn rivalry aspect that adds a little bit more to it. Because like you were saying, man, when you train together, somebody got the best of somebody. They know it. The fighters themselves, they know it in their head who got the best of them.
Yeah, I saw them face off though. I saw them face off. They're cool.
Yeah.
They're cool, like in real life, and they both got money now. He might have been pissed about the $12,000 because back then he didn't have the money like he got now. $12,000 is a lot of money when you're paying trainers and you're not making a whole lot. And these are UFC fighters, not boxers, so they're not getting bread like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Speaking of Usman, let me ask you this. Usman came out a couple of days ago saying that in 2022 he's going to shock the world and he's going to stop Saul Canelo Alvarez, who's arguably the best pound-for-pound fighter. I feel the same way, man.
That's a headline. That's a headline. That's all that is.
Like, when he said it, I thought he meant in the UFC octagon. If he meant UFC, okay, I'll give you that. But boxing, come on.
These UFC fighters, man, they don't have a chance boxing.
No.
And I'm gonna tell you, they'd get stopped by any journeyman. You know what I mean? Because when you don't have all these weapons, when you take away all those weapons, all those threats, and now all you have to do is use your hands and your footwork.
Yeah.
Boxing is so, it takes a long time. You just don't pick that up and just run with it.
Right. Because, I mean, when you're a UFC fighter, you got to train all these different dynamics. And then boxing, when you're just focusing on boxing, then you can get to the little aspects within that one, art that you're focusing on. Then you can focus on the footwork. You can focus on the head movement. You can focus on all the little details that you may not be able to do when you're a UFC fighter because there's so many different things. You got to work on your submission. You got to work on your stand-up. You got to work on your judo. You got to work on jiu-jitsu if that's what you do, Thai. There's so many different things that you got to worry about when you're a UFC fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I just think, that's just headlines. These guys have to make money, man. These guys have to if they're not fighting right now, he has to put something out. Masvidal, the last two guys he beat up are fighting right now, so he has to be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
That's just just a money talk move.
Yep.
But
Yep.
ain't nobody beating Canelo.
Nah.
But speaking of Canelo though, Benavidez, isn't he his mandatory right now, right? Yep. And I've been telling you, Benavidez is dangerous, man.
I know
that's really who Canelo should be fighting, man.
I definitely know he's dangerous. But you know what? Canelo made a good point, bro. Canelo made a good point. He said that all these fighters, right? They're putting their plans on hold to fight me to get the big payday. And I get it. You want the payday. Everybody does. But you're not staying busy in the process. You know what I mean? Like, in the meantime, when I'm fighting other people, what are you doing? Are you just sitting around waiting for me to finish this person and to hopefully pick you? Or are you still staying busy? You know what I mean? Like Charlo, for example, I like both Charlos, but they're not active enough. The 161 is not active enough. Big Charlo. It's starting to get to a point where, like, and I say this because he's super talented, right? And the fans want to see the talent. So when the talent isn't being put on display as often as it should be, it's frustrating because you might see him fight one time a year. You know what I mean? 3 times in 2 years if you're lucky. You get some people that fight 3 times in 1 year. So it gets to a point where it's like, yo, if you don't have Canelo, if you're not fighting Canelo, keep staying busy. Keep running.
Yeah, but Canelo's people. He's also not fighting his mandatories, man. Like, let's keep it real. He's not fighting his mandatories. And Benavidez, I personally think that Benavidez is the most dangerous opponent out there for Canelo stylistically.
Now, are we talking including the 168 and 175?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
All of it. Benavidez is the most dangerous fighter for Canelo. And I've seen interviews that Canelo, somebody asked him it and he wasn't really ready for it. And he's even said himself that he's a dangerous opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, he's making money out here. And we get it, It's the Mayweather blueprint. But the difference is that Mayweather fought his mandatories.
Yep. Now, I am anxious to see what happens with David Benavidez because he seems like he's in the Andrade situation. He's talented. Yep. He's begging for these fights, and nobody wants to give him these fights.
High risk, low reward.
Right, exactly. And speaking of which, those two actually might mix it up at the 168-pound level. David Benavidez was saying that he wouldn't mind fighting Andrade. I think Andrade just signed to fight a mandatory. But after that, David Benavidez said he'd stop Andrade if they fought. You know what I mean? Andrade said
that's possible.
You think he can stop him?
Yeah, I do.
At 168, yeah, it's possible because it'd be Andre's first fight there, and how's he gonna react when you get hit by somebody at 168? You've been at 160 and you've been running through everybody. So what
Benavidez is tall, rangy. He has good boxing skills. Canelo's short, man. Canelo's small. He's not a big dude.
Yeah.
He's stocky, now. But, when you go, how tall is Benavidez? Probably what, 6'2", 6'3"?
Let me find. I want to say like 6'1", probably something like that. 6'1", 6.
I mean, he looks tall, man. Benavidez looks.
Yeah. He definitely. Hold on. Let me see if I might be able to pull it up real quick. But I want to say he's like 6'1". About to find out right now. Let's see what we got here. My computer's moving slow. Let's see. David.
I think because somebody else, I think Canelo, he responded to some folks who was talking about him, talking about that he's not fighting his mandatories, and he said, "Oh, Mike Tyson." It was Mike Tyson. And who else?
6'1.5", actually. I didn't mean to cut you off. But he's 6 foot. He's right at 6 foot.
Okay. So, but Mike Tyson, I believe he just came out recently criticizing Canelo for not fighting his mandatories, right?
Oh wow, I didn't see that. Hold on, I just got
Yep.
jet.
And he said that they should mind their business. I just I just saw
Hold
an
on.
interview with him saying that. So
Yeah,
I have the same feeling, when it comes to Canelo. We've watched him. I think he's great. I think he's the best. I think he's the best in the sport right now.
mhm.
But he ain't giving the people what he want, man. He went over there and fought all those Caleb Smiths and all their brothers and cousins for like a whole deal. Like nobody's trying to see that.
But the thing is, in Canelo's situation, he's in a unique situation because you do have to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like he fought all the champions at 168. He do,
Yeah.
he deserves that credit. But when you start to get to a level that Canelo is at, and even Floyd Mayweather was in the same situation when he was active. When you're so good and you're beating everybody, people start throwing all kind of names out there. They're like, all right, we want to see you against this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. And it gets to be tough because sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you can't fight everybody.
Well, you
You
can
know what
fight
I
your
mean?
mandatory.
Yeah, but I think Canelo is at I think he's at a point where now he can kind of pick and choose too what he
Yeah.
wants to do. Like
It's
if he
money,
wants to
man.
move to 175 and put certain stuff on hold, he has the ability to do that because he's the big draw in boxing. When you're the big draw in boxing, you can do a lot of stuff that other people can't do.
And then also, when you're making the type of money that Canelo's making, now you're making legacy moves. You're
Yeah,
looking at hundreds of millions of dollars potentially in endorsements throughout your lifetime that you could potentially touch $1 billion,
yep,
right?
absolutely.
And you can't get beat. You got to save it. You got to save these fights as
Hmm.
long out as you possibly can. Because at the end of the day, yeah, we want them to fight, but ain't nobody really care about these guys and their families. So I don't. When you're in that position in a sport like boxing, I don't fault him for taking advantage of that.
Yeah,
Because a lot of people didn't like Floyd choosing his opponents either.
yep,
But you see where he's at. You
yep,
know, and that's a beautiful thing. So, hey,
yeah,
I saw the news that you put out there. Rigondeaux
yeah.
got 80% of his vision lost right now. He got a cornea burn on both of
Yeah.
his eyes. That
Yeah,
pressure
shout
cooker.
out to Rigondeaux, man. It's sad. Apparently, like he was in his house cooking, and I want to say like the cooker or something like that exploded, got him in the face. He lost like 80% of his vision.
Yeah.
And they're saying that it's something that very possibly could come back in like 48 to 72 hours. Like he's able to see certain things,
Yeah.
uh, but he doesn't have his full vision back yet. So I definitely hope everything works out for him. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just
Pray
even not
for his
even
family.
boxing related, just yeah, not even boxing related, bro. Just life in
Yeah.
general. You know what I mean? Because even though he may be young, I'm sorry, old in the boxing ring, he's still a young guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's still a young guy, so you definitely want to see him make it out unscathed, and hopefully everything works out for him. And shout out to everybody in Ukraine too, as far as all the boxers like Lomachenko, Klitschko, Usyk. Them doing everything they can to keep everybody safe over there. So hopefully everything works out over there for those guys, and everybody remains as safe as they possibly can. Um,
Let's talk about that because I was very very impressed to see these guys have money. You're talking about the Klitschko's.
yeah,
These guys could have Lomachenko, Usyk. These guys could get on a plane, get their families out of there, and be gone. They went back to fight, and I think that just shows like the spirit of where they're from, and there's a reason why there's so many champions from that area, man. Those guys really have a lot of heart. So I'll take my hat off to them for going back and holding it down in their homeland.
yeah,
It's pretty
yeah.
cool to see
And I
that.
mean, if you think about it, they could have very well. So, like for example, Lomachenko, he was the leading person to fight George Kambosos over there in Australia. So
Mhm.
he could have done that instead and not worry about what's going on in Ukraine. Alexander Usyk, his rematch with Anthony Joshua's already lined up. They're ready to go. So he could have done that instead of worry about the fight. So the fact that those guys put their country first, You have to respect it. You know, like I said, much respect to those guys. Especially like you said, when you got that kind of money too, it's very easy to say, you know what, let me just
Peace.
worry about my money, move
Yeah.
my family out, and not even worry about none of this. And they didn't do that, man. So they definitely deserve a lot of respect.
And, I think that, especially in times like this, having that national pride is important
Yeah.
from where you're from. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And they definitely showed their character going back home, going into a war zone. So, we just pray for their families and, everybody over there
Yeah.
and just pray for their safety and their family safety. Just
Absolutely.
much respect.
Yep, yep, definitely. So hopefully everything works out over there, man. So, all right. So last week, right? We didn't get a chance to get on Thursday, so we, definitely got to talk about last week because last week was pretty interesting. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the Josh Taylor
Yeah.
Jack Catterall fight from
Yeah,
Scotland.
I watched some of the highlights from it, but he got beat. Josh Taylor got beat, right?
He did.
That's what I've chalked up that he lost that fight.
He did. He
Did you
did.
watch the whole fight?
I watched the whole fight. I watched the entire fight. The only issue that I had with the way Catterall fought is when he got the knockdown because he actually knocked Josh Taylor down. I want to say like in the seventh or eighth round. So he knocked him
Hmm.
down, but after that, he kind of let his foot off the gas a little bit. He wasn't as aggressive and boxing as good as he was. So when you do that, especially we're talking about in Josh Taylor's home country,
Where's he from? Scotland or
from Scotland.
Ireland? Well,
From
Scotland.
Scotland,
Oh yeah, you're gonna get the home cooking, man. You can't take your
right?
foot off the pedal.
Yeah, that's why they always, 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 always say, like, if you fight in a champion, you got to beat their ass. You know what I mean? Like, you have to make it decisive. It doesn't necessarily have to be a knockout, but it has to be to a point where it's obvious, that you're winning if you don't get the knockout. Because if it's close, chances are you're not, you're not going to get the decision. And it,
True.
it it sucks for Catterall because he was working so hard, just for the opportunity. He actually stepped aside, believe it or not. So Josh Taylor could fight Ramirez for the
Mm.
unification. So he stepped aside for that, and then he made an agreement with Josh Taylor after he won that he would get the next shot.
Yeah.
So the fact that he got the next shot, 26-0, worked his whole life for that, and he gets to take it away.
That's good. See, this is what I'm talking about. We were talking about Canelo and whatchamacallit, what's his name? See, this is the problem. These people get forgotten about. Triple G and Canelo. That Triple G won the first fight. His career could be on a whole different path if he
Yeah,
would have got the decision that he deserved. So
correct.
when Catterall beats him, see, this is the part of boxing that turns people off, man. This
Yeah,
is the part, the fact that, boxing is the only sport that the promoter pays the officials,
right. Yeah,
pays the judges.
yeah,
The promote that is the
correct.
biggest conflict of interest possible. And the fact that there's that much money in boxing and things like that, that's what turns people off because that man's life could change
Yeah,
forever. Josh Taylor's going to be good. He's already a champion. He already has that status.
yeah,
But it's being an athlete. That's the part of boxing that's just the business that is just like unacceptable. I personally think.
yeah, yeah. And real quick, we're on to your Boxing Fix channel. Anybody that's watching, make sure, tap in if you want to join the discussion. Send a request. I'll accept it, and then you can chime in
Shout
on the
out to
discussion.
Jeremiah.
Yeah, Maya Collins is in there. So yeah, I definitely had to put that out there. But you're right, man. Like even as a fan, it sucks sometimes because you see the person that should have won, they don't get the decision. And if I'm a young fighter, I think who was it? Catterall's manager. Somebody said that like if you're a kid, right, and you're watching boxing and you see something like that, it kind of turns you off. You know what I mean? It kind of turns you off. Like if you're a kid, you watching boxing, then you see the Taylor Catterall, result. You're like, okay. do I even need to do this? Because I could work hard and do everything I need to do and still won't win. I can decisively fight. I can knock the dude down. I can do everything I need to, but I'm still not. So why am I even doing this?
I mean, it's tough. You know, that happened with one of the worst that I've seen in like recent over the past like decade was when Danny Garcia went to Puerto Rico and won that fight against who was the kind of journeyman that he fought? Gosh, you remember what's his
Yeah,
name?
it was on Showtime. It was on Showtime, I believe. Jeez, I'm not gonna be able to remember, but I do know what you're talking about.
It's not Hernandez, but Herrera. When he
Okay,
fought Herrera,
okay.
when he fought Herrera, beat the shit out of Garcia that
hmm
night, and
hmm
just because it was Puerto Rico in Puerto Rico, they stole it from him.
Yep, yep. And
You know,
another thing too is they're trying to protect because Josh Taylor has plans to go up to 147. And before, I think it was before the fight, the WBO, I want to say, made him the super champ. It was WBO, whichever title Terrence Crawford holds. That organization made Josh Taylor like the super champion. So if he were to move up to 147, he'd be the immediate mandatory for Terrence Crawford.
he does
So
not need to move up, my man. No, we talking about a whole different animal.
he
Terrence
already said it.
Crawford.
He already said it, bro. He said it in an interview. He said he's going to talk with his team, but most likely 147 is next for him. And if he fights at 147 the same way that he fought that last fight, there's multiple guys at 147. Not even just Terrence Crawford. There's multiple guys at 147
That would
that would clean
punish
him
him.
up and wipe
Yeah,
his nose. Yeah, and wipe his nose if he fights like that, bro. I can name 5 off the top of my head.
yeah. Nah, you know that. Go get your shots at the bar now in Scotland. You know, go celebrate because you move up to 147. That's gonna be it. We're gonna see an AB moment. We're gonna see an Adrian Broner type of situation where he just can't hang, even with the gatekeepers.
That is a fact. Hey, don't sweat it. Hey, what's going on, my man? He sent me a message. He was like, "Yo, I'm sorry, I haven't been able to watch the lives. He's been at work." So we here, man. If you want to join the conversation, send a request, bruh. Send a request. We'll add you to the live. We got some nice little boxing discussion going on back and forth. So you're more than welcome to join in on it. Um, but yeah, man, it just sucks because like, all right, so if he goes to 147, right? So you got Terrence Crawford. He won't beat Terrence Crawford. Fighting like that, he won't beat Errol Spence. That's 2.
Mm-mm.
He won't beat Keith Thurman fighting like that. That's 3. He won't beat Virgil Ortiz fighting like that. That's 4. He won't beat Boots Ennis fighting like that. That's 5 off the top of my head, just like that.
Yeah.
So is 147 what he really wants to do? Now, I know his ego is probably telling him that he can beat the majority of these guys because he's a competitor, he's a fighter. I get it. But fighting like that, bro, it's not gonna be good for him.
No. He doesn't have a chance at 147, but he might not be able to make weight anymore at 40.
That's what he said.
That's probably, you know, that's the issue.
Yep.
You know, he's a grown man. It's hard to make 140 pounds.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but it's hard even for me to make that. You know what I'm saying? So like I can only imagine. And he said that too. He said that in an interview, and he said like it's tough because he had an injury too. And then when you're dealing with injuries, obviously you can't train and you can't do the things that you are accustomed to doing. Like you got to make certain changes maybe to your training to make sure you don't re-injure yourself or make sure you're able to
Yeah.
rehab your injury the right way and still be able to get your work in and still be able to train.
You know, before these guys make these like colossal moves up to weight classes, I hope they got their business in order. You know what I mean? I don't pocket watch anybody, but before you make a move like that and you've been a champion, I hope you got, you know, do what McGregor did, do what Mayweather does, do what all these people do. Start, you know, I'm sure they're doing good things. I'm sure they have great people in their circles, but that's an important thing because, you know, you could be a champion now and tomorrow you just be the doormat,
Yep.
you know, so get your money right because you might not have a shot at that again.
What's up, my
Hey,
man?
Yo, bro.
How you doing, man? Welcome, welcome. Hey, don't sweat. This is my boy B Wells, and don't sweat, man. Introduce yourself, because I don't want to call you by your, by your
My,
name
my
on
name
IG.
is
I'd rather call you by your real name.
my name is Amin.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, Amin.
Appreciate you, man. Welcome, welcome. So,
Yeah, glad to see that you made it on Saturday, man. I'm off on Saturday. 9 o'clock on Thursday is tough for me.
Yeah. Like we, usually we do Thursdays, but I was busy hanging out with this guy. As a matter of fact, and some of my close friends. So we decided to change Saturday. And you know what? I might just keep it on Saturday too.
Hey, Saturday's a good day, man. 7 o'clock is good. I was just at a baby shower. I'm like, I gotta bounce, man. I gotta go on a video.
Hey,
They dragged you to the baby shower, man. Oh man.
I had family in town, so I had to go show my face.
Hey,
Understood. So, all right. So you knowledgeable, man. Me and you, we've had several conversations. This whole Josh Taylor situation, man. Like me and B Wells, we've been talking about it. His recent fight, he fought like crap. He fought crap.
He got a gift.
He did. Yeah. So, looking at the whole situation, what do you think Josh Taylor should do? Do you think he should stay at 147 and make sure he got his crap together before he goes to 147? Or do you think it could just be an off night for him? He can go to 147, but he needs to be careful who he jumps right in and fights before he gets those big fights.
Only person I see him having some success with at 147 would be Thurman, man, because Thurman is glass to the body. Anybody else at 147 is smoking.
Yeah. I think like even Thurman looked good in his last fight though. But you're absolutely right. I mean, if you look at some of Thurman's fights, even before this last one, I forgot who he fought. He fought a veteran. I want to say it was Collazo. Luis Collazo. It was on PBC.
Almost had him out of there.
Yep, Collazo hit him to the body, and then Thurman just retreated. He just retreated. So that's
if he gets in the ring with Crawford, that's a short night.
He's a dead man walking if he gets in the ring with Terence Crawford.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And then, like I was telling him, they're talking about that since he's the super champion now, that he could be the automatic mandatory if he does go up to 147.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. Are you guys watching the fight tonight? The Martinez Chocolatito fight on DAZN starts at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
All right. I'm gonna check it out.
You best believe it. I've been paying that membership and not watching fights, so I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna check it out too. I'm gonna have that on for a little bit, and then I'm gonna flip between that and the UFC fight too.
So who do you got for that Ramirez Chocolatito fight?
I got Chocolatito.
Chocolatito by knockout, man.
Yeah, I got Chocolatito. It's still gonna be it'll be a good fight. I'm interested in seeing Mark Castro on the undercard. Too. He's a up and coming fighter. He's undefeated. You know, he's one of those that's on the cusp of getting to the next level. So I'm anxious to see what he does. Keyshawn Davis, shouts out to Norfolk, Virginia. Keyshawn Davis has been mentioning Mark Castro's name a lot. So that's a fight that you might see, in the future. But yeah, I'm gonna take Chocolatito on that one. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you're gonna be watching the UFC fight tonight? I know that's a boxing page, and we talk predominantly about boxing. That's what we do. But tonight is just so juicy. As a fight fan, we gotta take a couple minutes to kind of touch back over that. We were talking about it earlier, but I want to get your opinion on it too, on what you think about Covington versus Masvidal 272 tonight.
Masvidal, I mean, he's a very good fighter, a good puncher. But I mean, he can get caught at the same time. Covington's got skills, but I think Masvidal's gonna knock him out.
Masvidal by knockout?
You got Masvidal. Okay.
I say Masvidal third round knockout. That was my original instinct. So.
But that's the beauty part about this whole fight. Like, if you ask people, you're gonna get a different answer. Like, you may get somebody that believes Covington will win. Covington's gonna win because of his gas tank. You got people that think Masvidal is gonna win because of his power. There's all these different things that can possibly happen.
I mean, Masvidal can get caught too. Obviously, he got caught last fight.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But does Covington have the power?
no, I don't think so.
That's what it boils down to, because Covington is more so like a cumulative damage, wear you down and beat you for 5 rounds. He doesn't have that one punch KO power.
The only two decisions only two ways gonna end: Covington by decision or Masvidal by knockout.
I'm with you.
That's all. That's
agree
all.
with
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, see, I got Covington to win.
See?
I think he's the tougher fighter.
Yeah.
And he might have his number. These guys train together, like I was saying earlier. You know, it depends on who has whose number from training.
That's true thing, but at the same time, you're gonna think that you're comfortable. You know everything this guy's seen, but you don't show everybody everything that you know. I mean, for that same reason, keep your enemies close. Friends close, enemies closer. That's what it is. You don't tell everybody everything.
Yeah, that's true. And they say like sparring is different than actually fighting.
Facts.
You know what I mean? For that reason, like sparring, you're gonna go a certain speed, but when it comes to actually real fighting, you going 1,000 miles an hour. You know what I mean? But it should be a good one. It should be a good one. And in a couple weeks, my guys, we got Errol Spence versus your Dennis Ugas to unify the belts at 147. If Errol Spence wins, I saw a report. He said we'll see about fighting Terence Crawford. I'm about tired of talking when it comes to that situation, because they've been talking back and forth about that for too long. So either it's going to happen or not at this point. But Ugas and Spence, man, like as the days start going, I'm starting to like Ugas, man. I didn't think so. Like in the beginning, I'm like, Spence got this, but like the more I'm thinking about it, I'm starting like Ugas' chance, man. What do you guys think?
Ugas by knockout. I'm playing with you, man. Nah. Nah. The only thing I'm thinking of, man, is the fight's gonna be in Texas, so Ugas has to knock him out to get a draw.
That's true. We just got done talking about Josh Taylor, didn't we?
Right. So
yep.
I mean, that's Ugas' only way to win the fight, because if it goes to a close decision, even if it's 116, 112 Ugas, they'll screw him and they'll give Spence the fight by a split decision, or they'll do it, or it'll be a draw.
It could be. D Wells, how you feeling about that fight, big dog? What you think?
I'm going to win.
You got Errol to win?
I think he'll get a decision, but
Yeah.
and I've said it before. I think that Errol needs to just go ahead and fight these fights, man, because I don't really think that he has. After the car accident, I just don't think he has that many fights left in him. He has like eye problems. He has stuff happen to his face.
Yeah.
I really think that he's trying to like. He's on a slow pace right now because he knows. I don't think he has more than five fights left in him.
Yeah.
That accident fucked him up big time, because
It did.
It did.
The first interview back on Showtime, he was slurring his speech like, "Whoa." I'm like, this dude, there's something wrong up here with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And even now, like if you watch him and listen to him talk, you just get that feeling that something's wrong. Like you try to put your finger on it, but when you listen to him now versus like before the accident, you can tell there's a difference.
100%. I agree with you. I mean, it's something got knocked loose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like I saw the press conference, the first press conference with Ugas, and Spence, and I was listening to Spence talk, and I'm like, no, something's wrong. I'm trying to put my finger on it, but bro, he doesn't sound normal.
Right. And it sounds like a guy who's punch drunk. You know what I mean? That's been in a lot of wars.
Yeah.
Like a James Toney type, you know what I mean? Like he's in a lot of wars. And an accident can have that effect on you. So,
And I've said it multiple times. Like, I don't really want to see Spence fight. I don't want to. He's a young man. He got thrown from a Ferrari. We all saw the video. Like,
Right.
It's a blessing that he's here today. I really don't want to see that man take any punishment. And I really think that he probably should cut his career short, man, and live the rest of his life out, because it's a blessing that he's even alive. For real. And I get that same feeling that I see the slurred speech and all of that, man.
Yeah.
So,
and people will understand too, like, well, the people, you know, obviously there's some assholes that aren't going to understand. Like, if he decides to retire, there's going to be some people that run their mouth XYZ and say how they feel, but it really doesn't matter. But looking at the video, like you just mentioned, and listening to him talk, like we just got done saying, if he were to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and call it quits, majority of people are going to understand why. Because they're going to know what this man has been through. They're going to say he got thrown from a Ferrari, and then his retina got jacked up when he had headgear on. So, you know, when all this stuff starts happening, there's only so much. There's only so much that you can take. And if I'm Ugas, if my job is to go out there and beat you, I'm throwing – Ugas has an outstanding jab. So if I'm going there, I'm jabbing at the eye.
You have to.
You have to. You know what I'm saying? I'm going right at the eye. I'm jabbing at it all night. I'm pulling that Margarito. You know what I'm saying? Like what Cotto did to Margarito. I'm attacking that eye. And then it's going to be at some point, you're not going to be able to see nothing. So, you know, I'm kind of with you, though, Brian, because I like Earl Spence. I've loved him since he stepped on the scene. He was outstanding. But you know, when your health is at stake, there's more to box. You know, there's more to life than boxing. I'll say that. You know, especially.
But you know, not for everybody. You know, this is all on this level. Most of these guys is all they know how to do.
Correct. Yeah, I'll give you that. And
he's young, but I don't think he's not really. I don't know about him going into too many wars. I feel like he needs to just, if he's going to fight Crawford, he got to be next. If he's going to do it. And then just right off into the sunset if he wins.
If he beats Ugas, there's no, at 147, there's, as far as I'm concerned, there's nobody else to fight. Other than Crawford, of course.
No.
If that fight doesn't happen, man, there's talks of him possibly going up to 154. And fighting Lil Charlo. And Lil Charlo, the Castano winner. Their fight got moved back. I want to say it's in a couple months. I forgot exactly what it is, but they're going to be getting a rematch. So there's talk about him possibly fighting the winner of that. Now, what if Errol Spence moves up to 154? How would y'all feel about that, though?
I think that's irrelevant. I think that he will not be Crawford.
You don't think he'd beat Crawford if he fought? But what if he beat? Let's just say he beats Ugas, and for BS reason, a fight between him and Crawford doesn't happen, and he decides to move up to 154. What do you think happens at that point?
He's got the experience to beat the fighters at 154, but at the same time, 154, there's a lot bigger punchers over there.
Correct. Yeah.
And you can't see something. You got bad eye problems, and you want to get hit by a harder punch. That's more of a chance you get knocked out. Don't even think about touching 160. You're gonna get put to sleep.
Yeah, 160, you're a dead man walking. So 160, he's a dead man walking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, even if he does beat Ugas and and he goes to 154, they're gonna give him shit that he's avoiding but so
yeah. I think he's gonna hear Bud's name in interviews and everything until he fights.
Right. But if he loses to Ugas, he needs to, like I said, retire, because he loses to Ugas, Bud's gonna put him away.
Yeah.
I look at Errol Spence Jr. as to me, he was the cat that I thought that had the most potential to move up and challenge Canelo.
Yeah.
Before his accident.
Yep.
He was the person that I was like, man, he leaves 147. He needs to just go up and chase Canelo down. You know what I mean? But You know, I think this fight's going to be excellent, man, and hopefully he'll get out of it and he'll fight well and prove us all wrong. You know, I hope he does.
I agree with you on that because I was in the same boat. Oh, once again, we're on the Your Boxing Fix channel. If you're watching, you want to chime in on the discussion, send me the request, and I'll tap you in and join the discussion. But with Errol, man, it's tough, man. So it's one of those things. And I'm with you too. If yeah, he does have a retina issue. So if he loses, it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Because let's just say he loses, then you're going to have to deal with some of the young talent that's coming in there too, because there's still Boots Ennis that's lurking around in there. There's still Virgil Ortiz that's lurking around in there. You know what I'm saying? What if Keith Thurman wants to get in the ring with you, and he may not be the sharp, but he may tag you a couple times. So it's it's tough for Earl. We'll see. I definitely wish him the best. But like Brian said though, I was looking at him as possibly fighting Canelo at maybe 160 or 168. And looking at the way Earl fought before the injury, you can make a legitimate argument that would have been an interesting fight. You know what I mean? Earl was strong and reflexes. Everything about what Earl was doing was top notch. But yeah, Joe, I agree with you, man. I truly don't think Spence and Bud is going to happen, man, because it's. I think both guys. Nobody. I don't think anybody wants to be the B side in that situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you listen to Errol talk, Errol feels like he's the A side, and that Bud is going to have to take whatever Errol offers him. But if you listen to Bud talk, Bud is like, oh, I'm 2-division world champion. If you want to unify the belts, you got to come see me. I'm undefeated also. Like, why do I have to give up my bread just because you want to be the A side? And they both have a legitimate argument as to why they both should be the A side. And then you start throwing money around. So that's going to be tough, bro. It's going to be tough.
It's the O. And ain't nobody trying to let it go.
Yeah.
So, that to me that's the big thing, man. And I just it would be a shame if Terrence Crawford and Errol did not fight. It'd be a shame.
Yeah, because I mean, like, and they know that too. Like, they know that that's the fight that boxing fans want to see. If you were to go around and ask, he had to step away for a second. That's cool. But Boots is in the mix too. Absolutely, that's what I was saying a little bit ago. But we'll see what happens. Well, that's all I can really say, man. There's so much stuff that can happen, but somebody's got to have some give. That's why I like the old school way, like Roy Jones, for example. Roy Jones said, "Yo, if you say my name, I'm coming to get you. I don't care who your promoter is. I don't care who your network is. If you got my name in your mouth, I'm coming to see you." And I don't think
Trying to chill said Spence said when Bud gets a belt. True. Then he said he on the other side of the street. Yep.
Spence is the one too. Yeah, Joe spot on.
Spence is ducking. I really think Terrence Crawford is the most talented person in boxing. He's better to me. He's better than Canelo.
Skill for skill. It's tough. I love watching Bud make his adjustments because you see it during fights, bro. That's the beauty part. You see it happening. Like, you see the fight going a certain way, and then you see Bud adjust, and then you see how the fight goes after that. And it's like a painting. It's like a Picasso painting, and you're just watching it being painted. And Bud is awesome at adjustments. But the only reason why I would put Canelo in front of him, the only reason is the level of competition Canelo's fought. That's the only reason. Because Canelo has made those adjustments also in high-profile fights against world champions. I'm not saying Bud can't do that. I'm sure he can. He just hasn't had that opportunity to do that yet. For whatever reason, people may not want to fight him.
He hasn't had the opportunity. Hey, look, he said Bud is an angle because of his punch selection. That is true, man. Bud Crawford is a technician. Canelo is a technician too, but Canelo's fought a whole lot of bums, man.
He has.
In recent years, he fought a lot of cats that we're like, who?
Yeah.
There's tons of fighters better than the fighters that he's been fighting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe not tons, because there's not a whole lot of competition for him. I don't think that there's really that much competition for Canelo. But Crawford, man, I mean, he's just impressive, man. This is his fighting style and everything, man.
Yeah. I think it's a situation. I mean, I think it's a situation where not many people want to fight Bud Crawford. I think that's what it boils down to. Like I said, as far as his skills, I'm not debating nothing when it comes to the skills of Terrence Crawford. He's got it all. He's got the entire package. But the only thing, bro, is I just want to see that level of competition, man. Because it goes back to the best fighting the best. If you the best, I want to see you fight the best.
The best don't want to fight him. It's like
Right.
Just like, yeah. They don't want to fight him, so it's not necessarily his fault. Plus, he's on the coincidental list, and we already know what that is. You know what I mean? This is just a coincidence. Nobody wants to fight you. Nobody's really promoting your name. You know what I mean? Because just you're not marketable. You know what I mean? WBC. I mean, hey, Canelo has the whole entire country on his neck.
Yeah.
You know, Crawford doesn't have that. So, you know, there's a reason his name's not ringing bells, man, and they know they're going to lose to him. So why would you fight a man that's not that popular?
Yeah. But you know what? I think part of it, Bob Arum, in the, you know, when it comes to just managing Terrence Crawford, just promoting Terrence Crawford, I'm not talking about his job as a whole, his entire career, because obviously he's done a masterful job. But when it comes to Terrence Crawford, I don't think he did a good job.
No.
Because you can't sit here and tell me that an undefeated fighter that makes adjustments the way that Terrence Crawford has, that's been destroying everybody that he's been in the ring with, you can't market. Like that, one of the best top 3 pound-for-pound fighters in the world, but he's not marketable, right? But you put Lomachenko up there, and then you try to make him 13-0, 14-0, and try to market him when he's got a loss, but you try to erase that 0 off that really shouldn't be a 0, it should be a 1, but you're gonna put the 0 there to try to do that.
Joe's right.
You know
Bob Arum race to promote. Hey, look, that's because it's a country.
Don King does too. Don King does too.
Because that's what the sport is. People cheer for their countrymen. People cheer for their race. You know, and that's just part of boxing. And it's yeah, but no, you're right. You're 100% right. But they promoted Lomachenko to the point where they erased the loss off of his record.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's going above and beyond.
Yeah, definitely. Boxing, you know what? Boxing is definitely a country sport, because I went down to Texas, right, for the Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia fight that happened. And I was sitting at the bar before the fight, and some Mexicans had joined me. We was all chopping it up and everything like that. Found out they were going to the fight. And they said, man, who are you taking in the fight? And then right after that, they said, well, you have to take Spence. I guess in your situation, you have to take Spence. So that's telling me, so this is, you know what I mean? They were like, well, we got Mikey. And then they said, well, I guess you have to take Spence. And I'm like, okay, so this is how it's going to be. This is what we running into tonight. You know what I'm saying? And like, as we were leaving, like, you could see like some of the drunk Mexicans, they were trying to start fights with some of the people that had Errol Spence shirts on, you know, because you got some people that take it seriously. Like, some of the Mexicans, man, they got,
it's real, bro. Like, if you go to these fights, you'll see somebody like 50 Cent stand up and the fans are booing him.
Yeah.
Why you booing, you know, or another entertainer, they booing him.
Yeah.
You know, it really gets territorial like that, man. But
it is.
Yeah, you're right. You gotta understand the culture. But yeah. So what else? What else is some boxing news that broke recently?
Shit, man. There's a bunch of it. There's what Canelo just inked that deal. Since we were talking about Canelo, we got a couple minutes left, but Canelo just signed that it's actually a 3-fight deal. So the first one, he's gonna be fighting Dimitri Bivol on the Zone, and after that, if Triple G is successful and looks good in his fight with Mariota coming up, I want to say that's the 9th of April. If he looks good, then they're going to do Canelo versus Triple G Part 3. I want to say in September timeframe. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a fight I don't want to see.
I don't want to see neither of them fights.
I don't particularly care for, and I think we've talked about this on a previous show, that it's a no-win situation for Canelo. You beat him, Okay, you beat a 40-year-old man. He's just about 40 years old. You beat a 40-year-old man. If you lose, you know he has a lot to lose.
He's
You know
not.
what I mean? I
How
don't
did
think
Triple G his last fight? Who did he fight?
so. He fought like guys like Cesar Mita, Steve Rolls. It hasn't been any top guys, and that goes back to what I was saying a couple of shows ago, that I don't feel like Triple G has done enough after the fight with Canelo, that second one, to earn the right. Yeah, you can say that he won the first fight, and it'd be a good point. But the second one he lost, and Canelo's been fighting all world champions after that, and Triple G hasn't been as active against strong competition. So part of me is thinking that Canelo's gonna knock him out. Be honest with
I wouldn't be surprised. I think he probably will knock him out. And I think he'll knock out Bivol too.
you. It's possible. It's
I'm
possible.
going to fight. Now, he's good, but I wasn't really that impressed.
Yeah, he's good, but he's beatable for Canelo. He's beatable for Canelo, and then at 175 you got Bivol, and then you got Joe Smith Jr. And then it's possible for Canelo to unify at 175. So I think you're probably going to see Canelo teeter between 168 and 175. Anything higher than that, going up to heavyweight and all that, that's stretching it. I mean, that's doing what Roy Jones did, going from junior middleweight all the way up to heavyweight and winning the heavyweight title. And we'll see what happens, but he doesn't have the height that Roy Jones, or the length that Roy Jones has. So if Canelo were to continue to move up, I'd be interested to see how his height plays a role in that when you're going against people that are significantly bigger than you and longer than you and able to keep you on the end of their punches so you can't get inside. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. He's never even hurt Triple G. It could be a good fight, man. Triple G, he's a tough dude. My only problem is he's damn near 40 now. So you done slowed down a little bit. You ain't the same. You ain't got the same gas tank, So what happens? Canelo's been fighting all dogs, So it'll be interesting for the storyline, because there's a storyline that Triple G won the first one, but from an actual fight standpoint, I got Canelo by KO for it.
Yeah, and anything less than that, I'd be surprised if he doesn't KO both of them.
Yeah, like if he doesn't KO Triple G, I would kind of, or put some real bad damage on Triple G, I would kind of, be kind of weary just because of where they're at now. Triple G ain't, he's slow, he's slow, and now you're talking about almost 40 years old. He's not the same guy.
He hasn't knocked anybody out.
He ain't been that old school Triple G in a minute, bro. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. My man,
Triple G. He was old school Triple G in the first fight.
The old school Triple G, and I know we haven't seen him since then. So maybe that first fight took more out of him than we thought.
No. Let me get that correct. He was old in the first fight. He was already like
get it? Yeah.
6 years old.
Yep. He got started. See, that's the thing, bro. The big fights with him got started too late, man. Because he could you imagine him getting like a good 10, 15 years of what he was doing in his prime? Because in the short window that he was fighting in Dominant, bro, people fell in love with him. People fell in love watching him on HBO, knocking people out impressively, knocking everybody out that he gets in the ring with, to be honest. So we're not, we haven't seen that anymore. So maybe he's getting older. Who knows? Maybe his power is going away a little bit. We'll find out. But my man, you bailed me out again, brother. You bailed me out. We reached that hour out.
To the foggy camera, but next time I'll have the 4K at the office. But yeah, man, it's always good linking up, and we'll give me a call. I know we'll meet up tonight, talk about his fighter tomorrow morning. But yeah, man, to all the viewers, thank you for
man. Bro,
love the support.
Man, listen, the show doesn't exist without people coming in and talking with me, because it adds that interaction that people want to see. Like, people more inclined to see interaction with other people versus watch me ramble on for an hour. People may tune in, he's talking to, but if they see a discussion, they'll at least watch it for a little bit. So in between you, my man Amin that was in there, Joe that time in, my man from New York that was here, yo, Jesse James Leha, without y'all for real, there is no show. So I definitely appreciate y'all, man. And you know we'll be talking about this UFC fight, man, and let the people know where they can find you. Let people know your social media. Let people know of Blockchain Game. Let people know of everything, man.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, if you want to, if you ever want to, you know, link, you know, we have blockchaingames.world, metaverse games coming out. Our podcast, Crypto Convos, you can catch us there. But really, this is all about the fight game, and life is a fight. So, you know, everything goes hand in hand. So, you know, we got to fight in business, we got to fight for love, and we got to, you know, we just got to keep doing our thing, you know, keep rolling with the punches.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. We got to keep supporting each other, man. And as long as we continue to do that, man, I think special things will happen, not only for me, not only for you, but me and you, we have a close circle of friends, you know, that we try to talk to as much as we can. And it's always good to see the people that we grew up with, from elementary school, middle school, high school, and even maybe a little bit after, that we still stay in contact with them, making, you know, doing the best that they can and becoming the best version of themselves and doing what they love to do. So the fact that we have a circle of friends that's doing that and we all support each other. If you were to ask for some friends and, you know, the perfect friend, that's what you would want. Somebody that's going to support you in whatever you decide to do, let you know when you're wrong, tell you about yourself when you're messing up, and motivate you.
You know, because when you're moving, when you're out here moving, and if it's business, if it's sports, if it's boxing, you know, never quit. Because sometimes if you quit, you don't know who's watching you. Somebody else, you might be inspiring someone else. And the second you quit, the second you know, don't follow through, that may change their trajectory. So, you know, we always got to keep fighting, man. And I'll tell you, it's you know, the fight game, it's just like life, you know what I mean? You don't get knocked down, but you gotta keep getting back up. So thank you, man, for the platform and being able to join you today, man.
Hey, man, you know you're always more than welcome, man. Anytime we go live, you know I'll let you know. And anytime you're able to make it, man, you know you gotta come in and holler at us and, you know, kick it with us for a little bit. But I'm gonna let you go, man. You know we'll be talking. Tell the fam I said hey, you know, and much love, my brother. Appreciate you, man. All right. I'll holler at y'all later, man. I'll see y'all next week. Y'all be safe.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro.